What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is your girl, Vette Green, and you are here rocking with me on my new show that's going to be hosted every Sunday on WLEO 26.7 radio. This is Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Thank you, the Joker. I know right now, Ella, Elise Renee, thank you for supporting as always. We're going to get the radio side together. Everybody, just stick with us. I promise you, we're going to get this. This is our first time doing this, and I am on the heels of coming from an event that I hosted today with D'Amica Evans. It was so bomb. The Joker, it was so bomb.
Yeah.
That's
What's up?
Big shout out to D'Amica. I appreciate that. And today we have a very special guest in the house. And if you aren't able to listen to us today on WLEO 26.7, I promise you that next Sunday we'll be there. We are working through some initial setups right now, unfortunately. But fortunately for us, we're still here and we're going to get through this. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Again, this is your girl, Vette Green. I have my bro, the Joker, producing this. And tonight we have MJ in the house. She is part of WAP Nation. And the song that you are listening to right now is one of her unreleased songs. Hey, MJ, thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome. Playing right now. I'm going to play hers now. That's the Deja right now. But we will play hers. Her artist name is Little One, right?
Yeah,
MJ.
Little Ones.
MJ.
So. Yeah, yeah, MJ, she say. On Facebook and stuff.
It started off as Little Ones, and then we transitioned to MJ.
Okay. New marketing, new branding.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So E Digger might be joining us in a little bit, and he said he's at the computer right now. So he's probably going to be joining us in a minute, and we can work through the radio side. So MJ, welcome. Thank you again for joining us. I'm loving this song that's playing in the background right now. You are the queen of WAP Nation. You are one of, when I last spoke to everyone, you were the only queen over at WAP Nation. Has that changed? Are you still the main female over there?
I am still currently as the main female here.
Okay.
Hoping to expand that more.
Oh, it will. Can you change your phone this way? Does it?
You want to sideways?
Yeah, that way you'll get more. We'll see more of your beautiful face. All right. All right. So MJ, talk to us about your journey into music. Your voice is so soulful and it's so melodic. I can hear a lot going on in there. So talk to us about this song that was playing, the song that you had given us that's not even released. Walk us through that.
So when I wrote the song about a year ago, and I was going through a point in my life where I was constantly being built up, I felt, and then knocked back down. So when I wrote the song, it was initially about someone. And when I finished writing it and listening to it and performing it, I realized it was more of a self-reflection song, that I was the one allowing these people to build me up and knock me back down again. And going forward, this song helped myself, build myself up and never letting
Mhm.
anybody knock me down again.
Oh, I love that. I was at an empowering women's luncheon today, and that was one of the many things that we spoke about. Just not letting anybody knock you down because it's us against us, right? So you are
Right.
so beautiful, and your energy
Thank
is
you.
so great. And we got a chance to meet and speak for a short time. You were surrounded by a whole bunch of guys. I
My
wanted to
brothers.
get you on here, your brothers. Yeah, I wanted to get you on here and just talk to us about your journey and what got you into music. What happened that made you want to say, you know what, I want to pursue this thing in my life?
To be honest, when I moved here to Buffalo, a lot of people didn't know that I sang. A lot of my family here didn't know anything. Nobody really knew. They knew I did karaoke and stuff. They never knew my actual sound. And so I was just playing around with some family, Goose, Millie, and Fawns one day. And they were like, let's just see what you got. So I started rapping because there are more rappers. I was like, I got a little something, something, you know? And then I sang for them and they were like, what are you doing with your life? I'm like, well, I'm a mom and I work. I mean, that's my life. They were like, no,
Hmm.
your voice is too powerful. It needs to be heard. And I didn't believe that, I was like, oh, y'all just being too nice, whatever. And then so I started working. I bought a little microphone. I downloaded like Audacity and I started recording myself and just working and writing more. And I started believing in myself. I was like, okay, there's too many people telling me that I need to keep going. There's just too many people. This has to be true. So I just kept pushing. And I walked into Guap one day with a friend, hoping to do a feature. And it turned out, no, let's get you in here and see what you can do. And this is what we did in one night.
And that's what started it. How does it feel?
Yeah.
Because you are the only female over at Guap Nation right now. How does that feel for you? Is it intimidating sometimes? Because that's a lot of masculine energy.
In the
And you have
beginning,
to
it
find your
was.
own place.
In the beginning, it was. But they're family here. So it just began, it just flew, like it flowed, flow. It just went naturally. Let's put it that way. And at first, it was a little intimidating, but everybody warmed up to me. I warmed up to them, and I created a bond with every single one of them on a different level. And now I'm comfortable. Like I know that they're gonna push me, they're gonna support me, and they're gonna protect me. They're gonna be there for me in any way, shape, or form. So at first it was a bit much, but now it's like a whole bunch of brothers.
It's like
pretty much.
That is definitely what I got out of Guap Nation when you all were at the 716 Live studios, that it was very much family, which I love that, because what I'm realizing more and more is that you need people that are going to support your dream and be able to help you through that vision. Does it feel like you've gotten that with Guap Nation, that you've gotten not just, this potential career, but a family?
Yes, because I don't have much family. I'm not from Buffalo. So, for a while, there was nobody there, just or not the support that I needed. So when I did walk into Guap, it's like they just took me in and they believed in me and they were pushing me. And, it's like, I wasn't even supposed to be here. I was actually packed up. My whole apartment was packed up. I was supposed to go back to Texas in January. And I ended up walking in here and I'm staying.
Wow.
So that's what Guap did. Guap helped me find my voice, my power. Yes, the universe works. So
you feel like you found your power in your voice?
At first, doing karaoke, you always mimic an artist. When you sing other people's stuff, it's never yours. So I can sing like, different type of artists and stuff, but here, these were my lyrics, my words, my sound. And I didn't know how I was supposed to sound. Am I supposed to sound like this? Like, who am I? What is my voice? And this is the first song. This is my voice. I found myself.
It's such a beautiful song. It sounds like you were pouring your heart out in that, or at least going through something. I'm always interested in people who can put that pain or the things that they're going through into a lyric and be able to have us feel those same feelings, the people, the end users, the people who are listening to the music. And the melody is so sweet and soft. I feel like I need to have a cup of wine, a glass of wine instead of a cup of water right now, because it's so beautiful. Do you feel like it is a part of who MJ is, the music?
It definitely is, because this song, you know, it just is deep for me. And I felt like before I didn't know who I was. Like everything was an illusion. Everything was, you know, confusion to me. And constantly being built up just to be knocked back down again, to told you're this, or you can be this, or this is what we want, this is what we're gonna do. And then just within a split second, just for it to be all erased away.
Knock you back down.
And with this song, it was just like, I can't keep building and loving and trusting a truth that I already know. You know? So I did pour my heart into this song. This song was one of the most, I think, like deepest songs that I've written, because I wrote it for myself. And everything that's in that song, I meant every word.
Can you look back at the person that you were and the person that you are becoming, and you can see some growth in that?
Definitely.
Yeah, it feels good.
Definitely. It does. And this song helps me. When I listen to this song, it reminds me that I allow who builds me up and who knocks me down. And it shouldn't be nobody but myself.
That's right. That's right. Ooh, I can hear the growth. Because at the end of the day, it is us against us, and it is what we allow. And that's a hard truth to digest, because it is. We go through so much and we allow. I know we've all heard the saying, well, you're allowing it. And in some sense, that's true. It's what we allow. Yeah, maybe our mindset is not strong enough to say, you know what, I don't have to go through this. But you have to take responsibility for your life. And it sounds like at the end of the day, MJ, that you decided to take responsibility for your life, and you decided to paint that picture of who MJ should be, no one else. When you said that little ones, before we came online, we were talking about your name, the name that's on Facebook, but that's not who you're going by now. So talk to us about the little ones and the MJ.
So Little One is just a nickname that everybody calls me. It's always Little One's Dope Soul, or Hey Dope Soul, like Little One, you know. And it stuck with me for a while. But with this change, with this growth, I realized that someone gave me that name. That was never my name. You know, someone was creating an image for me, and that wasn't who I was. So with this growth, I had to step away from that, away from the confusion, the illusions in my head, and all the lies that were said, you know? So I've always been MJ. That's always who I've been. And I try to change myself for this person or this new life or whatever. And ultimately, Little One is not who I am at heart. It's MJ.
It's MJ. When you look back at that person that was trying to be something that deep down she knew she wasn't, but she still was trying to be that person, what would you tell her right now?
That person, that old me, pretty much, girl, you crazy? Wake up. That's what I would tell.
Yeah. Myself. That love thing is a main thing, isn't it?
Like, you know who you are at the core.
Yeah. At the core.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who you are at the core. Sometimes we get wrapped up in other people. And do you feel like you lost yourself at any point?
Yes. That's what caused, the trickle effect of growth, I believe. Like, we have to lose ourselves to find ourselves. Growth isn't pretty. I don't know why people think it's like flowers blossoming. It is not. It's like hurricanes and storms and just going through all of it to be able to weather through it all. So yes, I feel like I had lost myself for a little bit, and a lot of people saw it. I had a lot of issues, a lot of altercations, a lot of stuff that, because I was trying to be someone I wasn't. And now that I'm just being me, who I am to the core, everything is running so much more smoothly in every aspect of my life because I'm taking control.
Okay, so we are going to take a quick 5-minute break. While we are at break, make sure you guys go ahead and introduce the new song that's out right now. Well, you haven't even put it out yet. First time being heard right here on WLEO 26.7 and Think and Grow with Vette Green. So go ahead and introduce the song, and then we're going to go into a quick break.
Okay, well, it's your girl MJ, and here is my new song that will actually be released tonight, but you'll hear it first time. It's called Building Me Up with Yvette.
Hey. Make sure you come right back and go ahead and listen.
Okay, we had a 5-minute video.
We're about to go crazy.
So knock me back down again. The best at playing pretend. Confusion, illusions in my head. Memories of the lies that you said. What do you build me up? What do you knock me back down again? It's true, I won't be a fool. Not for you.
The moment that you left, it didn't seem like you was too deep up in the darkness, can't see light. I guess you stay stuck in the shadows in the meantime. I know that you confused, but you acting like you seem fine. But I seen the signs too, quickly to forget. Do I need to remind you when I'm talking through your head? And when I go right from behind, and I know that I was wrong, could you admit that you was lying too? Was never trying to hide you. Still think about the day when you called me up. I was real heavy off the drink, I was sauce as fuck. I was doing things, had you thinking that you lost your touch. Oh, what a price to pay. Never thought that it would cost as much. Can't sit and stand in pain, can't believe that it would hurt this much. When they start going down, I pray to God that I start turning up. Bit the hand that for me, now the bridges they start burning up. Cause when I got you back, had me feeling like I ain't enough.
Building me up, just to knock me back down again. The best at playing
It is fire.
Confusion, illusions in my head. Memories of the lies that you said. What do you build me up? What do you knock me back down again and again?
There you go.
Oh, it's true.
Yes. It's so beautiful, MJ.
Not for you. From the star in your sky, tell the dirt on your teams, late hours of the night, bringing your demons home. Together we sleep, slithering.
She said, bring your demons home. What?
Back in my peace.
What?
Why you do this? Why you do this to me? Clean slate never started. My love stays departed. I stay in the darkness. Can you again remind me? Any price I gotta pay? Baby, please, please stay. Come back to me, relight my way. You and me forever and a day. Building me up.
That's my baby.
Just to knock me back
building me up just to knock me back down again.
Playing
Oh,
pretend.
that sounds like my love life.
Illusions in my
Right.
head. Memories of the lies that you said. What do you build me up? What do you
Every time.
knock me back down again and again?
Every
Oh, it's
time.
true. I
Hey,
won't
if
be
y'all
a
feeling this, make sure y'all
fool.
hit MJ up on
Not
all
for
social media.
you.
All
MJ,
social
let them know
media.
where they can find you at on social media.
All right, so on Facebook, Instagram, it's MJ spelled EMJAI. And this song will be released on YouTube tonight. It's also EMJAI. Go ahead and subscribe and like and follow on all platforms. The song will be released tonight. So that's where you can find me at.
Elise Renee said, but do you build me up? A word. She's saying that's a word, MJ. Thank you, everybody who's tuning into the first episode of Slow Jammin' and Conversations with your girl, Vette Green. And the first debut song we have on this platform is by MJ. MJ, tell them again where they can find what's the name of your song and when it's going to be released.
It's Building Me Up. It'll be released on YouTube. The YouTube channel is MJEMJI tonight at midnight.
All right, everybody.
So like and subscribe so you don't miss out on that.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe MJ's music because there's more coming. Big shout out to Guap Nation. They have some really dope artists in that camp. I'm telling you, don't sleep on Guap Nation. They have some dope artists coming out of that camp. So MJ, before we let you go, what's new? What else is coming up for MJ? What's coming up soon?
So I have another single that I'm working on. It's called Love Lurk. So that's the next song that I'll be working on and releasing. And hopefully we'll be able to do something together with that one.
Oh, of course. You have to come back to this new show. And also 716 Live, definitely come back to the studio. So here we go with we're having some technical issues, but that's all right. We go keep on going. We are going to keep on going. Right, the Joker? We go keep on going through these technical issues.
Yep.
We go still keep going. So, MJ, before we let you go, what would you like your 2023 to look like? What would you like it to look like?
Well, I started my 2023 as a blank canvas. And as I go through, I am painting. I am the artist.
You are the artist.
And MJ is here. She's
Big
back.
round of applause, Guap Nation artist MJ. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on my very first episode of Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green. I love that you brought your beautiful body of work to this platform to debut it for the very first time. And we're going to continue conversating with MJ. She's going to still be here. You're welcome to stay. We're going to have a couple more guests coming on just to talk about some things just going on in the news and history and just having a conversation. Elise Renee said blank canvas and I am the artist. You better claim it. She said, thank you, MJ. Thank you, MJ. Already is hit. You know, it's so wonderful to see how a person's creation can translate to something so powerful for somebody else. So that song is resonating already, and it hasn't even been released yet. So big ups to you, MJ, because what you went through, you know that it wasn't for you. It was for somebody, so you can write this song for someone like Elise Renee. That's what you went through for her. Yeah. So I appreciate you for coming on, and anytime you have anything to release, you hit us up because we are here, right, the Joker? Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
All day, every day. Mostly 7 days a week, really.
Pretty much.
No days off.
No days off. Not in this. So we're going to continue.
I'm going to play it on Friday on the Indie Friday on my show on 514 Online Mix Radio. I will play it. this Friday. It'll definitely be on rotation on the Indie Friday. So I'm gonna show love on that track. I like that joint.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be in rotation on the Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green, because that is exactly the type of vibe music that I want to bring to this platform. And shout out to E Digga. I know right now it's not working on the radio side on WLEO 26.7, but we'll get that together for next week. But you can see us right here. That's my daughter, Amari. So I'm going to bring her on in because we are going to be conversating. We're going to have some really good, dope conversations. We have one more guest that's going to be coming in. We're just going to be conversating about life and what's going on in this crazy world. You know, what's really going on in this crazy world. So let me bring them both on up. The Joker, did you bring them up or? Oh, we are live. Oh, yay. E Digga, we are live. That is what's up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is your girl, Vette Green, and we are live and alive on WLEO Radio 26.7. We good, bro. We good, the Joker. We good. Oh, that feels so good. So welcome up to the stage, Imad.
Hello.
Amari.
Hello.
Hello.
I was trying to get my camera to...
It's not working?
Oh, I think he accidentally clicked out just now.
Oh, is yours not working, Amari?
No, mine is. I just have to find somewhere to prop it up at.
No, my camera won't work for some reason. You know what?
Well, I'm glad that you both joined us tonight. How are you guys feeling about? How are you all? I have to stop saying you guys because that can be a little sexist. I'm learning. How are you all feeling about MJ's new song that she debuted right here on WLEO 26.7 online radio? Are you feeling
it? I heard
it?
a little bit about it. It's pretty good in my opinion. I liked it. And I like the blank canvas and artist thing you said at the end there. I really did like it.
Thank you. I'm actually going to be writing a song about that. That's why I kind of threw it in there too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That is nice. So we are here. Thank you both for joining. So if you all have not realized, these are my two kids. That is my baby girl that you hear, Amari, and that is my baby boy, one of my baby boys, my twins, that is Imad. And I invited them on the show because at home, me and my kids have really, really dope conversations. Like we talk about everything from politics to history. Imad is actually a history major right now at Chicago State University. His goal in life is to change the education system. Okay, he is going to change the education system.
Well, it's not just me. It wouldn't be just me. It would be a group effort.
What do you think we need? And Amari, baby girl, is it all right if I call you that on?
It is not.
Well, Amari, tap in. What are your thoughts about what's going on? I saw the post that Imad sent earlier about Trump. What are your thoughts about the education, and what do you both think that we need to be doing better as parents? What as parents, because you both are millennials, what should we be doing better?
No,
I think I'm like Gen Z or something like that.
I think Imad would be considered Gen Z. I think most parents just have to get on board with the idea of gentle parenting and, recognizing that you don't have to be a bad person to have been a bad parent. That doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. It just means that you didn't have the skills. And a lot of people, especially people like earlier millennials, like, the 35, 40 plus crowd, a lot of them have had experiences where they now are finding themselves trying to seek out better mental health and just all those things, and realizing like, I necessarily wasn't even given the skills. It's kind of like money management. You can't know to be a good parent if you didn't necessarily have great parents yourself. And so sometimes, you know, no one has the expectation you're going to be like forming the next Elon Musk or like Bill Gates, but you know, just having a bond with your kids and just talking to them on a regular basis, that helps. Just good communication skills and recognizing when you can be wrong.
What's so interesting, everyone that is listening, is that so Amari I had when I was 19 years old. So needless to say, I was a child raising 3 children because she is one of my twins. She's one of my first set of twins, and Emad is one of my second. So their experiences are quite different as far as, you know, me being a parent. I'm very proud of the adults that they are becoming, and I won't lie to you and say that it is easy parenting adults, because it's not. One of the things that, thankfully, my mom is here and she's telling me, you it's different when you are parenting adults. And one of the things that I am learning myself is to be communicative, because I grew up where it's, you know, children should be seen and not heard, and children should not have voices and opinions, and that kind of all went out the door because kids do need to be able to express their opinions. And no, I was not a perfect parent. I'll say it again. I was 19 years old by the time Amari and Emari came along, so I didn't know what I was doing. But I'm glad that now we can have these forums like they're on the show right now to discuss things like this, because I'm sure there are other parents out there who's trying to navigate the parenting life and navigate, you know, maybe transitioning over from being a mom or parent, I would say, to little kids to now parenting adults, because that's what I'm doing. And you can't tell these adults who are also your children what to do, and they have their own minds. They have their own minds.
They do.
And Amari and Emad, like, one of the things I do love is that I work at keeping an open communication with my kids, and sometimes it doesn't always work. Emad, Amari, I know you.
What do you mean? I try to be as open as possible. I'm not hiding anything from you. I wouldn't hide anything.
What about you? What about you, Amari? How do you feel growing up with me? What do you think? Me then and me now. What do you think that looks like? What is that for you?
You then and you now. I don't really know.
Well, tell the truth, baby.
I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. I mean, maybe a little bit more open to hearing about if you said something mean, I guess would definitely be the way to describe it. I think one of the biggest changes in the last,
that as a mother.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Honestly, I would say, yeah, that would be the biggest change. It's not like that you made like a 360. No one really changes their full personality. Like, there's
Shout out
a lot of stuff that happens with just, you know, forming your own personality. And it's not just going to change overnight or even in a year or two. It's just, even if you were wrong, I at least feel like I can approach you a lot easier now than maybe like at 27 versus like 17. It's a lot easier to at least have the conversation. It may still be an argument, but at least it's like an argument, and I feel like I can at least say what I needed to say and not like worry it's just gonna go in one ear and out the other because you feel like you're being disrespected instead of like I'm trying to talk to you.
Yeah. What about, I see you shaking your head, Emad. What about you? And your experience is different because you all were kind of spoiled compared to
to be fair, I don't really remember before high school. I really spent most of the time in Buffalo. So outside, like before Chicago, before Delaware, actually, it was like a different. Yeah, it was just him. So I don't really have a basis to go from, but from Delaware, it was more like you were still trying to find a fine line in between parenting and then making sure you were good. And then ended up going back to Buffalo after a while. And then in Chicago, it was more like just being able to talk to you about anything. I felt I could talk to you about just bring up anything. I wasn't like afraid. Like when I turned 18, I think, or 19, and came home from Costco on my birthday, you were like, "Are you? Did you go out there and party or something?" I was like, "Yeah, I did." I was honest. You know, I was like, "Yeah," and you were like, "Okay," and we just kept it pushing from there. So it was more like an open family thing, and it just kind of set the bar. They're like, okay, I can't just come up to you for anything. I can just talk to you about anything, and you won't judge me, or you won't I won't get in trouble, pretty much, to be honest. That was the main thing.
Must be nice.
It was always a discussion.
Murray, you're more spoiled than the other two, so cut it out.
That is quite the statement, but sure.
So let's talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the news. What is Trump talking about? What is going on? I saw the message that you had sent, Iman. So talk to us, and Amari. I love how you both. So full and fair disclosure, these two right here, they are very into history and different type of political things. My kids, I'm very proud of how smart, intelligent they are, and this is all 6 of them. They all have their own strengths and areas for improvement. But one of the things that I love, when we all get together, we have really dope conversations. Like I've recorded some of them, haven't released it because my kids don't really like being on camera, but we really do have some really dope conversations, and I wanted to bring that to the screen to show you that it really is possible, even as a single mom. One of the things that I realize is that because I have such a supportive family, that it took that village that I needed. They helped me raise my kids. By the time I was 19 years old, I had 3 kids. By the time I was 26 years old, here comes the last set of twins. So at 26, the age my daughter Amari is now, I had 6 kids and a husband. You know, I had a full-fledged family and had not knew who I was. But this is the product of working hard. One of the things that I told myself is that just because I decided to have these kids, that these kids did not have to, you know, be forced to live a certain type of way because I made that choice. I made that choice to have them, and my kids are my everything. That's the reason why I'm doing this right now. But I wanted to bring those dope conversations to the screen. So let's open up just like we're at home sitting on the couch. We just had a bomb dinner. We ate Granny's black eyed peas, fried chicken, all of that good stuff, and we're sitting on the couch talking. So let's start with Trump. What is going on, Iman? What is he talking about?
So I got a message from one of my friends. It was Joe. He sent me a article talking about Trump wanting to abolish the Department of Education. And I was like, what? That sounds insane. Like, the Department of Education is there to regulate what states are teaching. Without the Department of Education, you would have states in the South. Well, I'm only saying the South because those are historically been red states. But states in the South will be discriminating against so many groups of people. Like, imagine a school in down South who doesn't have to abide by abortion conversation laws, or they don't have to abide by LGBTQ regulations, like things that supports them, make sure that they're not being discriminated against just because they are not within the social norms. And by the way, when you were introducing us, I just want to say, I don't think I'm any more smarter than anyone else. I feel like the whole saying someone is smart is kind of like playing more into like, oh, that other person is dumb compared to them, you know. So I don't like to say I'm smarter. I just say I like to I had a better opportunity to learn things.
Yeah, that's true.
But to go back to the Trump thing, yeah, it's a really dangerous thing if he ends up abolishing the Department of Education, they were talking about it. I think in his first election in 2016, he brought it up about merging the Department of Education with the Labor Department to make it so that the Department of Education doesn't have as much of a say, because then they would have to go through the Labor Department too. So it's like an ongoing battle trying to keep the rights we have. Like, imagine, you already know Roe versus Wade, what happened when he was in office during then. Like, the same thing's going to happen with Department of Education. It's just going to roll back things that we pushed for and things that we fought for by one administration change.
Amari, what are your thoughts on what Trump is trying to do, and what do you think the repercussions would be if that were to happen?
Honestly, on the same sentiments as Imad, like, we've already suffered that there used to be a teacher tax credit at one point where, because the classrooms are, when a teacher gets a classroom, it's a bare classroom and it's for them to creatively decorate and everything, and they're able to decorate that out of their own pocket. But soon it became, instead of just decorating the class, the teacher was responsible for the pencils, the paper, the printer, the pencil sharpener. Some teachers have even gone so far as to start bringing in extra clothes, because, like, when you're working in a poor school is in a poor neighborhood. And in a poor neighborhood, those children are already experiencing so much disenfranchisement outside of the school that I see teachers all the time. I just saw a post recently online of a woman. She was able to get a laptop donated to a student who, her home life is so hectic. When they handed out laptops, hers, quote unquote, mysteriously disappeared. And on top of that, it just has not been replaced. And so the girl has been falling behind in homework. And once the laptop was donated, unfortunately, the school decided that she can't actually take the laptop home because they consider it a donation to the school instead of to the student. And so when you're fighting for resources to that point where children are now being given donations, but it's also now being taken away from the school because the school is lacking resources, you run into a number of issues that don't even just start with law issues. It starts with just teachers are underfunded, classrooms are underfunded. There's such a number of things that they need that just dismantling the department itself would not make any sense. The department has suffered mostly due to people being put in charge that are being swayed by lobbyists for money. Like the most recent person that incidentally Trump put in charge, she had no educational background whatsoever. Like just none.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah,
she has a stake inside of private schools. Like the person who is in charge of funding public schools makes money off of public schools not earning any money. How does that make sense?
And so
like, the more money taken from public schools, she makes more.
It's not a situation where this kind of thing, unfortunately, comes out of the blue. It starts with the small things like rolling back the teacher tax credit. Now the teachers are not getting that money back that they're forced to spend on classroom supplies. It starts with situations where people are put in charge simply for being able to smile in somebody else's face and have enough money to be able to get into those positions. It's a kind of, it's not nepotism, but it is it's like just the back alley agreements are now starting to affect how we are even raising children. And it starts at something so ridiculous as, like, instead of dealing with the plastic issue and the lack of regulations and that most babies are being born with plastic in their bodies, it goes to, we need paper straws and you need a paper bag, but then you have to pay for the paper bag. So and they'll quote unquote make a solution, and I'm sure that's what will happen with this. A solution will be made, but the people on the bottom are the ones that are usually the ones having to deal with making the solution and also funding it. Whereas
because Democrats don't fight for us. Democrats just want to follow the rules.
There's a certain rule following that happens on both sides, and there's a certain kind of backstabbing that happens on both sides where one side is deciding whether or not that it's necessary to backstab someone, but in reality, they are so disconnected from actual society that they don't even realize. Like, there are hundreds
and the
of
disconnection.
people.
Explain what you mean by the disconnection, Mary. I know we've had this conversation before, but I just want the listeners of Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green to understand what it is that you're speaking of, because this is really, really important.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll give a prime example. This podcast is able to survive on just local listeners. There have been so many things in just the Buffalo area that I've become aware of simply because of your podcast and seeing you go to events or sharing stuff and stuff like that. It's like the small grassroots movement of communities that exist are what keeps the community flowing. It's what keeps the community happy, to be honest with you, where people have the time to go out and deal with their like neighbor and actually interact with them. But the crushing part of that is now with like things like inflation and stuff like that, people are working more than just a 9 to 5. They're working a 5 to 9 also just to try to survive. And it's just so ridiculous. Like, rent prices are up. People don't have time to spend with their kids. People don't have time to spend with their family. Vacations are a true luxury now. It's no longer, even going to the next day over has become a luxury to be able to go and do that, because there's a lack of sense of community, and it's just a constant struggle for everyone. Everyone is struggling in different ways. I have friends that make 6 figures and they have to send money home to their families, and they still struggle to even be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the middle class has been almost completely destroyed. It's only you're poor or you have money.
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot when we're all together. And Imad, I know you are very passionate about this conversation and the way we vote. So, Imad, talk to us about what it is as people, because I don't believe that the government cares that much for us either. I think that as people that we need to stand up for ourselves and not look for anyone other than us to fix us.
It 100% is a collective issue. The main thing that so in a lot of my university classes this semester, I'm learning about permaculture, and it's a very interesting concept where it's people coming together not to make not to earn profit, but to share a sense of work accomplished. It's working with the environment rather than against the environment. You're not trying to invade on anything. You're just trying to make it suit you without damaging it. And it's a very, very interesting concept that goes back to food security. And the fact that no one, and you can talk to like 10 people, and I guarantee you none of them will know how to grow a plant. But that couldn't have been said 50 years ago. When she was younger, she could have talked to anyone and they would tell you how to grow a plant. Because she grew up in that time. But no one knows how to grow anything. No one knows how to fend for themselves. And it's one of those things that was taken from us. And we just never thought about it. Like, I never even thought about how little agriculture knowledge we have. Even though we're Black people, we've been growing plants for millions of years. Well, not millions of years. That's an exaggeration. But you know what I mean? Like, when we were slaves, we were growing plants. Before we were slaves, we were growing plants. After, like, now we are still growing plants. But if you go to the projects, there's no farms anywhere. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
And not only are there no farms, people are not allowed to have farms. I will never forget when the PETA had protested the halal market that was in Lackawanna, and a goat got free, and a local family had strung up the goat, killed the goat. They were cleaning it. There was no issue really with it. They were cleaning it properly, and yet the police still came and took the goat from them. Even though it was just it was just a goat. They had no reason to do any of this. And it doesn't just start with like not being able to butcher your own food. It's local community gardens are often vandalized and abandoned, and they're just there for a photo op for whatever mayor is trying to be in charge at the time.
100%. After that week, no one talks about that garden anymore.
No one talks about the garden.
And then the garden just goes away because no one really cares about it. But it needs to be a collective thing that people intentionally go to place these gardens there and take care of the gardens. And it needs to be a thing that is passed down through like children from their parents or from their grandparents, like they did beforehand, like all the slave stories you hear.
The Joker and I had a conversation about this. When he was growing up, you would go to the store with your grandmother, to the grocery stores, and we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's corner stores and McDonald's and Family Dollars. If there was near the projects, there was not a grocery store over there. The only grocery store they opened was Family Dollar, and it's because that's all they can afford over there. If there was an actual farmer's market inside of that area, how much healthier would people be? How much more energy would you have in your day? It wouldn't be, or you wouldn't even have to leave Lackawanna to go to the grocery store anymore. You wouldn't have to leave your neighborhood to go to the grocery store. You could keep the money inside of that neighborhood and build it back up, but they won't do that because we're not worth it. We're not profitable enough. We don't have enough money for it. That's why instead of relying on other people, it needs to be a collective effort to try and get like the Friendship House. There's so many people there just going to that one event that was held to remember the Friendship House. Imagine if all of those people came together and started organizing their work, organizing the stuff that they wanted to see done within the community. Like if they wanted to say build the Friendship House back up again without the government assistance, who say that they can't other than themselves. It just needs that one person to make that push to collectively bring everyone together. It needs to be a unified fight.
What do you think one of the challenges is? And the Joker, I'll ask you this as well to join in. What do you think the challenge is for us to get back to that place where we are growing our own food and we are as a community? Because growing up, you and I, it was a community. It was definitely the village was raising us. If we went down the street and did something wrong, we was gonna get our butt whooped going back up the street to make sure we were doing right. So what do you think can be done so that we can change? Because it is going to take more than one person. It's us unifying together, right, Iman and Amaria? It's us unifying together.
Well, it's going to be real tough for like Lackawanna because of the mayor of Lackawanna is letting a lot of the immigrants come in and build on and getting the land because they stick together. You know what I mean? And that's one problem, that we have as Black people. It's hard for us to come together as one for a small thing. Just to talk about, it was tough to even keep the pack crew together. You know what I mean? I
would say it's not even necessarily an immigration problem. It's more so a problem of the area that you grow up in is being sold right from under you instead of them even coming in and asking the people in those communities of what they want to do with it.
Around the projects, all those new houses being built up.
Yeah, a major portion of Lackawanna is Black and brown families that have lived there for actual decades. Even Buffalo, there are entire areas of Buffalo where families have lived there for entire decades, and yet those people are not being asked about what they want done in those communities.
Let me let you know, I can tell you why.
To fund them.
I can tell you why, and I didn't know this until I got older. I wish I would have known this when I was younger. Being around Lackawanna and being in the group home and understanding the demographics, what's going on. I can tell you why that's not going on. Before I left Buffalo and traveled, I was working for a guy that used to always go to the council meeting. And every time I went to a council meeting, I was living in North Buffalo at the time, and my sister owned a house with her husband at the time. And, my brother-in-law used to go all the time because he was a homeowner. And it's a lot of information that they bring to the table. But when you look around, when I looked around, I didn't see our people there.
Yeah.
I seen maybe like 5 or 6 people and I talked to some of the preachers and some of the deacons and some of the people, and the main problem is that nobody want to go to these council meetings and speak their mind and go to these meetings so they can know what we want and know what we need. They don't know. They know it, but it's up to us to go to these council meetings and be a part of it. Sign your name in that book. Be at that meeting once a month. I think it's the third Wednesday of every month. Every council across the nation have a meeting in your area, in your county, in your area, in your local area. Like in Lackawanna, the meetings is at the police station, right there on Ridge Road.
You know what's really wild? It was not until my senior year of high school that I even know we had council meetings. That was one of the craziest parts. I didn't know, and the only reason I knew is because we had to do it for a school thing, and we just had to sit in for 30 minutes. A lot of the stuff they were talking about, I had no idea what they were talking about.
That's what I was going to say.
A lot like you, when I looked around, there were 3 or 4 Black people there, and I knew that if I expected anyone to be there, it would be those 3 or 4 Black people. And the problem is they're not putting up the signs that the council meeting is going on in the Black neighborhood. And unfortunately, the Black people that are going, they're going back to usually their church or the small group of people that they hang out with, and they're bringing them. But it's hard to get everyone to go every Thursday.
There's no awareness about it at all.
There's a lack of awareness.
You know what, though? Let me tell you why that's too.
It's so frustrating.
I can tell you why that reason too is, they was very till I got involved, I see a lot of advertising everywhere. The problem is that my grandmother told me this: if you want to hide something from a Black man, put it in the book. You know what I mean? It was in the penny savers. It was in Augusto. If you go in the Sunday that come every day, they have a list of all the meetings there. We skipped that. Us as Black, me, I did too. Not just me. I'm not saying this me. When I was a little young, little knucklehead running around like a wand, nappy headed, ashy. You know what I mean? I went straight to the sports page. I went to the comics. I'm an artist. I draw, so I went to the comics and sports. I didn't read the one page where it say local news or local information where they have the council meetings and this is for your city, this is for your town. If you want this to get built, if you need a grocery store, if you need to get a garden program, or none of these things come from the church. The Black churches didn't even push the issue. I'm gonna blame it on the Black church too. You know what I mean? It had to be a tragedy happen or something going wrong for somebody to say something about something. You know what I mean? But it was there. It was in our hands. We just didn't take the time to read the whole newspaper. We went to when's the next movie coming out? Oh, Janet Jackson coming to Buffalo. How much the tickets? That's what we were looking at newspaper.
Well, it's because no one was told that you have to be looking at this stuff. Like the standard of education for Black people, or the standard of education for Americans alone, is the 6th grade. Like, if your education level is max 6th grade, you're not going to be worried about what's inside of a book. You're going to be worried about how you're going to get your next paycheck. You're going to be worried about the 5 kids you already have.
That's not a form of distraction. They did that on purpose. That was the program. That was distraction. That was designed to keep us in bondage as brown and Black people. You know what I mean? That was the setup. That was the trap. And our parents didn't know because they was too busy taking care of us. They was too busy working. They was too busy worrying about, you know what I mean? Is it mom going to be in? Again, he just hurt his knee on outside. I got to put a Band-Aid on.
Exactly.
I'm not worried about what's the newspaper. I want to make sure my baby's all right. Everything was a distraction.
And, one of the greatest things, and this is a slight summary quote from Fred Hampton, where he said that the fight against racism is not to fight it with racism, but with actual solidarity. And so a lot of the communal living that a lot of Black families are used to, that has been completely disrupted. One, from the breakdown of the family home, just from the long-term drug and just financial epidemics that have just absolutely plagued the Black community. But on top of it, there is the idea of individualism where you have to take care of just yourself, and you got to get it out of the mud yourself, and then you can worry about everything else. But you can't really actually do that. You need to actually focus on helping your community, helping your family first, and then from helping your family, you will help the community. When you and everyone in your home is taken care of, when you guys are relying on other people, when your kid can actually go back outside and the people in the neighborhood are actually watching your kid and you're watching their kid, and that kind of like community comes back, then it will be so much easier. And so many more people will be less worried. And honestly, I wouldn't even say it's a bad thing that as a young person you were only looking for the things that would entertain you, because 9 times out of 10 a lot of people were working a wild job shift to just make ends meet back then.
They needed that relaxation.
You need the relaxation. You're like, dang, my job frustrates me, my boss, I hate my boss.
I remember when we were younger,
all I want to look at right now
remember that?
Yeah, I just want to see what concert is coming to Buffalo, and I just want to know if the Bills won.
Right.
That's the only thing I care about. Even in Chicago, I will meet old people, young people from Buffalo. As soon as I meet them, do you want to know what they're wearing? A Buffalo Bills hat. And then we sit there and we have a little bit of community from that. But like those connections are the ones that, like, even all the way in Chicago, almost 8 hours away, I'm still able to have some sense of home from running into people that are from there. Like, there's a bar out in Wrigleyville, a college area, a small bar, like a bar. Yeah, a small
we got one in
bar.
Albuquerque.
They get together.
Every Bills game we go there. And
that's the bar. That's the bar in Wrigleyville. They get together. It's a bunch of people from Buffalo all over the city, like just all walks of life. And the one thing that they bond over is the Buffalo Bills. And they get together during football season and they all watch the game. And that's how they all build community. And that kind of thing needs to happen also, like in Lackawanna, in Buffalo, where you guys get together.
Society places too much emphasis on the individual.
Yeah, it's like too much emphasis on the individual. Like the way that people have Bills mania is the way that people need to have like that kind
they
of.
They need to have Buffalo mania. Drop
the
Bills for a second.
Mania.
They need to have Buffalo mania.
Have it for the community. You need to. When people come to see a Buffalo Bills game, they need to be like, man, this is actually like a nice place. I could imagine living here. There are neighborhoods in Chicago that Hyde Park. It's a traditional It's a traditionally Black neighborhood, and it's not that just Black people live there, but it's a Black neighborhood. And it might not be a perfect example, but it's a good example of a Black community lived and thrived there. And now it's like, you look at a map of Chicago, Hyde Park pops up. I want areas in Buffalo to be like that, like those central Black areas. And it's not like Black creators and artists in Buffalo don't have a lot to offer, like this podcast, the musicians. There's so much art and creativity in the city that exists that if they had the support from the local community, or the community was even aware that they were there, it would be so much better.
Yeah, I see you shaking your head as well, Imad. You agree?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like, again, the emphasis on building up the individual really leaves out the community, because you can't get anywhere without people around you. Like, I don't care how hard you say you worked, you cannot get anywhere without relying on somebody. It's never just you. And that's really the big issue placed on society. It's like, you are supposed to, like, by the time you are 18, you are supposed to know everything you are going to do in life. Like, you're supposed to know what you're going to school for, what your plans for 5 years from now. You're supposed to draft up a 10-year plan, and you're supposed to do all of this, and you're just now getting out of high school. Like, these are the expectations placed on all these people, and you're not supposed to rely on other people. That's like the worst thing you can do. If you ever rely on someone, then you're seen as a lesser person, like you couldn't do it by yourself. Like you were weaker because of it somehow. Even though all throughout our entire human history, we've always relied on other people. It's never been just one person doing something to change the world. It's always been a collective effort. This great man theory that people use to tell history really ruins it. It makes it so that the individualist thought is emphasized on that. It's like, who started World War II? Hitler. No, he didn't. One person didn't start World War. That doesn't make any sense. Like that makes zero sense at all. Who built the pyramids in Egypt? You think the pharaohs did? They never picked up a stone at all. It was the people that they had working for it. The Industrial Revolution wasn't. It might have been accelerated because of the invention someone made, but it was going to happen regardless of it because of the collective issue. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not that's another thing that needs to be fixed within social consciousness, is that it's not a solo fight. You can rely on other people, and your achievements aren't going to be diminished because you had help from other people.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that is one of the greatest issues that we as Black Americans have? It's that crabs in a barrel mentality that we cannot seem to get away from.
I would say that the idea is not a crabs in a barrel mentality. It is more so that Black people have been convinced to not trust their neighbors or each other. There is snitches are rewarded even if that it will be to the detriment to the community. Even if something isn't going wrong. I mean, you can look...
Y'all call it a ghetto mentality.
I would honestly say
ghetto mentality.
It is that in a sense that this mentality is bred in there, where you have to have hostility towards your neighbor. You can't trust anyone. Yeah, it's a competition. Black people are often made to feel as though they are in competition with each other. When you should never feel like that. Most of the Black people from slavery to the Great Migration, they moved as a unit. Harriet Tubman moved people as a unit. It was not just one slave was like, hey, I know Harriet Tubman, let's get out of here. It was a unified force of, this is wrong. I will risk life, limb, and even the people I love to make sure that we can get out of this situation. Because we, as a community, know that this is wrong. And there are a lot of things that through communal life and through community have withstanded thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles from Africa to here, all the way down. In Africa, they have jollof. In America, we have dirty rice. In the Caribbean, they have like a multitude of rice dishes. Black eyed peas are a universal African American dish. They're a universal African dish. Black people are often unified through food and family and entertainment. Music, the world over, everything is influenced by the coming together of Black people and our creative minds getting together. I mean, even this music, rap was influenced from people feeling like they just want to just shout at the world. Like, I am pissed. My people are being treated badly. Cops are after us. Y'all are ripping us off. Y'all want to sell my everything, but y'all don't want to actually buy it from me. As long as it's not actually coming from me, y'all want it.
And then they put a label on that and sell that too.
And then you resell it. Like the repackaging of Blackness, even the repackaging of Black community. School lunches were a Black Panther concept to deal with the fact that Black children were being put into food deserts and not being given access to healthy food. And then a president's wife did it. And that is the face of food lunches. That is the face of summer lunches. Some woman that had no idea about it, to be quite honest. A woman that just wanted to have something to say, I'm the president's wife and I do this thing. And then when you put a Black face back on that though, when Michelle Obama became the face of school lunches again and just wanted actual fruit available to children instead of just who knows what kind of fruit, to be honest with you. Put in a syrup in a plastic container, shipped all the way from another country. And suddenly it's like, my kids don't need fresh pears. And it's like, you think your kid doesn't need fresh pears, but do you know that most of those cans are sitting in warehouses for years until they're sold?
That's one of the reasons I stopped buying
kids are the ones that are not even good.
I put canned vegetables in the house just to have, because it's just indoctrinated.
They're a last resource kind of item.
They're
Yeah,
just
and the thing is, and
frozen.
it's even worse because now frozen vegetables with food inflation prices, those have even become hard to access. And so people have had to go back to canned vegetables. People are being forced to feed their kids bad food that they don't want to feed their kid. They're being forced to have to go to
It goes back to the
McDonald's.
whole growing your own food. Like, imagine if schools in poor neighborhoods had a gardening program where they would grow their own vegetables. Imagine the amount of money they would save on produce for that year, and how much the students would be able to take what they learned and take it back to their community, because that's a lot of the stuff that happens in these communities. Like, children go back home and they tell their parents all the stuff they learned in school, and their parents are like, oh, that's interesting. Or and that's another thing that needs to be added too. Parents need to take more interest in what their kids are doing. They need to be more involved in what's going on in our schools, outside of them not wanting their kid to learn about different genders, or them not wanting their students to learn about sex at the age of 13 when they're about to get pregnant in freshman year. Like, that was the craziest sight, seeing a freshman kid go into my class pregnant. Like, and they were like full on, like at least 6 months into it. Like, that was a crazy sight to see when I was a freshman. And it's a normal sight to see in high school. When I said that to you guys were like, oh yeah, you just had one of them? I had like 3 in my class.
I did. I had them. It was the thing. Like, back in the 90s, right, the Joker? You were a teenage dad. I was a teenage mom. It was the thing that we
that's the thing. That stress is put on you guys, and that someone in the comments pointed it out that at one point
shout out to Brooklyn of the Brown Table for showing up and showing out. Appreciate you. Appreciate your comments.
What they just said,
Mike.
actually, I want to harp on in terms of actually tying into what Iman said. There is a divide and conquer that is placed in the Black community because a lot of the Black people in America are not here by choice. They are here by force. And so from slavery to now, if you can just convince someone that of the individualism of, why worry about everybody else? I can help you. I can take care of you. I can fix your problem. I can raise your family up. If you can convince someone of that individual mindset, they're willing to risk everybody else for it. And so it goes from that to, you can't talk to your neighbors, you can't talk to your family, and then the children in the home feel like they can't talk to their parents. A lot of those situations, I'm sure even yours, Mom, where it was like, if you had actually had the talk of sex ed with the parent and you felt comfortable coming to your parent, so many children would not have been born. And it's no issue with the kids. It's more an issue of that person didn't need to be a parent that young. They were a child themselves. So you end up in the unfortunate, like, quote of babies raising babies. Like, these people are not mentally prepared to raise children. They are now having to isolate themselves from their friends. I'm sure both of you have seen friends that they don't have time to hang out with you guys anymore. Lives that were going on a perfectly fine track ruined by drugs, gang violence, just someone getting pregnant. Just a multitude of things will come from teenage pregnancy itself. And it's no issue for the teenagers because they don't know any better. They don't know any better. You only know what you see. And so Imad being shocked by it, but me not being shocked by it, you having lived it, that is a generational trauma, but you'll see it even from the outside. It's a generational trauma for Black people as a collective.
And this is an issue that only affects poor people. Sex education is not an issue that affects people in more well-off neighborhoods because they have that education there. But if we don't have the education, no one knows. They just go out and do whatever they want because you're living in poverty. At least you can smile while you're living in poverty, right?
Yeah.
You want to try and have the most fun you can.
It's only made worse because, like Iman said, this is not affecting people that have access to better information and better education. For a lot of Black and brown communities that are in poor areas, the only form of birth control they actually have is honestly condoms or an abortion. It is not, that information is not being given to them about spermicide jelly, IUDs, heck, even just
not even
the
abortions
pill.
anymore if you really think about it.
Yeah, not even abortions anymore. And so now there's gonna be another increase in babies having babies, and the only crime they committed was having sex at a young age. Is that truly a crime to be punished by you
No.
being forced to have a kid? You didn't know the consequences of your actions. No one, if you could see it, you would never make that decision, but you don't know. And because you see it in your neighborhood, you are made to believe that it's not that out of the ordinary.
I'm going to read some of these comments. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the very first episode of Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green. We have on the stage tonight the Joker. Thank you so much, the Joker, for producing this. We also have my children, Amari and Imad. So I just want to go through these comments and thank you, baby, so much for being here tonight. This is an awesome conversation. I keep seeing the views. They are loving what you guys are bringing tonight. So Brooklyn of the Brown Table said we need to take it back to the farms, take it back to the old school, which is the best school. I agree, Big Mike. I agree.
Absolutely.
And Elise Renee
if
said,
Black people were given the availability to learn how to grow, you could even just grow a head of lettuce, and that'll save you $3.
Yeah. Yes. Elise Renee said, my other daughter, dog eat dog world. Some feel like only one Black person at a time can be successful is what we've been forced to believe. That is so true. That's not true. That's not true. We can all be successful. We can all help each other.
People everyone gets to see.
Thank you for joining, Nia.
A lot of the greatest Black people everyone has gotten the chance to see have had a bunch of people around them. Heck, you could even look at just the rap community. A lot of those labels were just young Black people getting together, making music. From Death Row Records to the even the neo soul movement. Like the studio that some of the greatest records, Erykah Badu's album was produced in the studio previously owned by oh my god, I can never even remember the guy. His dad killed him.
Oh, Marvin Gaye. Wow, I didn't know that.
No, maybe not Marvin Gaye. Maybe it was Marvin Gaye, but a lot of the music that we listen to, even now, honestly, kind of, because like labels like, and it's not necessarily the most great label, but labels like Quality Control, a lot of those artists, they know each other and they try to help put people on and they try to just influence each other. I mean, Kendrick Lamar is a perfect example. His cousin, Baby Keem, has exceeded expectations in terms of music. Even Chance the Rapper, he recently actually had a museum exhibit going on, and his brother had helped him find the artist that curated the museum exhibit, and it was about just Black children in Chicago. But it doesn't always have to be that kind of a super expensive thing. Sometimes it's just stuff like this. You having local people on, local guests, local musicians, local artists, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and end it. I heard my Sweetness barking, and
she's so loud.
Hey, Sweetness, you miss your Grammy?
Now she's quiet.
I hear. Yeah. So we are going to definitely come back, Imad and Amari. You guys have been awesome. The audience is definitely liking. I see all types of comments. They love the conversation that you bring. Imad, what would you like to leave the listeners of Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green tonight? Leave them a nice gem, baby. Something that they may need to hear tonight.
So very often we hear that we need to fight for equality, but that's not something we need. Equality means that everyone gets the same thing, but not everyone is equal. And that sounds like a bad thing, but some people are genuinely not equal. Some people have disabilities. Some people have they have learning challenges. No one is equal. Each person is a different person. That's why we need to fight for equity. We need to fight for the chance that we have to, not for the same opportunity, but for the same prospects. So if I, who need a wheelchair, can't go up the stairs. How are you going to expect me to go up the stairs without a ramp? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's equity, not equality. Equality would just be making sure that they can get into getting to the building itself.
I like that. I like that. What about you, baby girl? What would you like to leave the listeners of Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green?
I would say that, like several people pointed out in the comments, unfortunately, there is a lot of interpersonal hostility in the Black community. But unfortunately, we just have to meet people where they are at and try to work with them from there. We have to try to change their minds based on what we know they already care about. So if you know that person that maybe the argument to have with them isn't about gender or sex or all of those things, but if you know what they care about is why is there trash on the ground in the community, meet them there and work with them from that point of you just got to meet people where they're at and try to work with them on the things that they care about to improve the community, because it'll be all the small changes that really amount to actual change.
I agree. What about you, the Joker? This has been an awesome conversation. You digging it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. Especially when the young folks is talking and having to understand and understand what's going on. But I think that and I feel that you remember in high school when they used to always have a president or somebody in something or a leader of different organizations and programs in schools. They need to bring that back, but also have those leadership be involved into the community also. Far as city councils and stuff like that, so they have a better understanding and understanding what's going on in their community, the schools and everything else. And I think that some of this information would get to the kids and they can have better understand and understand what's going on. So when they do get like 17, 18, 19, 20, before you can go to college, you already know what's going on, what you can do to help, what you can make a difference on, and what your goals can be besides getting an education. I think, that would help out a lot. If we didn't have those things in school, they didn't really give us that opportunity. They always wanted to hide something from the Black and brown community. We had to learn from our ancestors and our local peers in the neighborhood, even in music business. You know what I'm saying? I was the one out of the whole pack group to go to the library and to learn the music business. I sat there and read books after books after books on the industry. And I had to go back and teach EG and everybody else what they need to be doing, how to copyright their music, how to do this, how to do that. I was the one that took that extra step. And we need programs like that. And, to use our creativity to understand the business.
Yeah, be able to open up that creativity. I was at the first annual 2023 Women's Luncheon that Damika Evans held today. There was a young girl, her mom and grandmother. The young girl, she was 6 years old. She helped her mom set up the table. She was selling bowls that you put in your head. She helped her mom set up the table. This is her business. When I tell you, you guys are going to see on my Facebook, this little girl, her energy and she's an entrepreneur at 6 years old. We need to be showing our kids that is possible. That things like that is possible.
Because the standards set so low. Like, and the standards for kids are set low. They're always taught like, oh, you can't learn that yet. You'll learn that when you're older. Yes, they can. Kids are sponges. They can take in so much information.
Look at
and not only that, just focusing in on the fact that her mom and her grandmother are there to support her. That kind of community also is what we were talking about earlier, where it does not necessarily have to be everyone having a great idea. It could just be one person and the people around you supporting that idea.
And that's what it was.
Her dream and her family being there to help her actualize that is so important.
Yeah. And y'all make sure you go to my Facebook page, because you are going to see this little entrepreneur doing her thing. Man, when I tell you she was working that crowd, Sweetie Pie knew how to pose. She knew how to come and get phone numbers. The Joker, she was getting phone numbers and names. She had a little notebook that she was walking around with, getting phone numbers and names. When I tell you,
emails, phone numbers, all that, social media. That's what I'm talking about.
On it. 6 years old. The grandma was
Marketing
there. The
queen
mom
right
was
there.
there. Man, you guys make sure
Okay.
you check me out again next Sunday right here. And if you like Amari and Emad on this platform, which it looks like you all did, put it in the comments. Tell them that you want to see them back here. Thank you all for joining us tonight for the very first episode of Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green. I got my producer up here, the Joker. Give him a round of applause, everybody. Thank you, the Joker. We be working this thing out, man. We be working this thing out. I appreciate everybody for listening. Make sure you join us right back here again next Sunday, same time, 7 p.m. And you can also catch me live on WLEO 26.7 radio. Go ahead right now, go to on the internet, WLEO 26.7 radio. And on Tuesday, I'll be back with the family. I'll be back with the Evening Rush Network. Think and Grow with Vette Green is returning back home to the Evening Rush Network.
No doubt.
And
don't
of course,
forget, next Saturday we will have Cool Chuck. DJ Cool Chuck will be on this platform. Also, interviewing my man Cool Chuck out of Anderson, South Carolina. He's gonna be coming in, letting them know his story, his life story, and I'll be live every morning at 514 Online Mix Radio. That is 514onlinemix.com. I'm live every morning, giving a celebration of 50 years of hip hop. So make sure y'all go tune in on the show in the morning with me. And when you get ready for school, work, and all that, I start your day off nice with some good old school.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And I finally got the chance. I laid in my mom's bed last night and watched Mary. It was so good. You were right. Yeah. You were right, the Joker. Yeah. It was so good. And big shout out to Mary.
And also, Mary got 2 movies coming out, 2 biopic movies coming out on Lifetime. You got Real Love and Strong as a Woman. It's a biopic about her life. Real Love is about her growing up, and The Strong of a Woman, how she grew up. Now, she having 2 movies on Lifetime coming soon. I seen the commercial yesterday. I was so excited.
That's what's up. Big shout out to Mary J. Blige. Make sure you all check out her Wind Down with Mary J. Blige, I believe is the name of the show. It comes on BET. It was definitely worth it. And so on Tuesday, we have Unique coming. I'm interviewing Unique. She has a track that just dropped on Friday. So make sure you all check out Unique. And then on Wednesday, we have the cast of Levi. I believe that movie comes out in April. And then Jer Taker is on Thursday, right here on the 716 Live platform. We're doing big things. And make sure if you have not already, you have to vote for us, right? Make sure you vote
for the 716 Music Awards. Yeah, vote for the podcast via Think and Grow with Vette Green. Put me in there too with the pop-up show with the Joker. And and also the albums and all that, the music. Everybody keep voting for the music. I appreciate everybody voting, man. I'm very overwhelmed. I had a couple emails today that people was voting for a couple songs. They voted for 3 other songs too. The Novas featuring 716, Spill 716, the song The Novas. And also the Friendship House. I got the song The Friendship House. A lot of people Lackawanna voting for that. That's some Lackawanna family right there. They vote for the Friendship House, the song Friendship House. So
that's so dope. So we're going to get on out of here. Thank you everyone for tuning in for the very first episode of Slow Jammin' and Conversations with Vette Green. We'll be right back here, same day, same time, next Sunday, 7 p.m. And make sure you are also listening on WLEO 26.7 radio. Thank you. Big shout out to E. Digga, the owner of WLEO 26.7. And I'll see you Tuesday. Have a wonderful evening on purpose. Love you long life. Shout out to MJ.